Right. So as far as this uh, video is all about, this session is all about explaining about what kind of responsibilities being a business analyst we need to perform in reference to the uh, dynamics part. So the first thing is that if being a BA, whenever we are working on application oriented, either it could be Salesforce CRM or it could be Dynamics and all other thing. The first thing is about knowledge over the CRM process is required. The first point. Okay, let me explain you from the beginning part, right? So knowledge over the CRM process is required. So how the customer relationship management process will be on a high level note. This is not something specified as a Dynamics, or it may be a Salesforce, whichever the applications are we using. We need to have a knowledge over the process of Dynamics, like customer relationship management, and what are the different CRM processes, CRM functions do we have. Okay, this is also required. So knowledge over CRM process is required. At the same time, what are different CRM functions do we have? So that knowledge is also required. This is point number 2. At the same time, we need to have a knowledge over Dynamics workflow, because if you remember, whenever I have explained you the Microsoft Dynamics, if you remember, I have explained about the workflow part. Did you remember that, Kingsley? Right?
Yeah.
Right. So workflow part, right? How to create that workflows, right? So that part I have shown you. So whichever the project are we working on, normally one should have a knowledge over the workflow process and all. So that is also required, which was told you in the earlier these things, all that. At the same time, knowledge over the configuration, because that is where generally I have shown you, right? So configuration in initial steps. Initial steps of configuration is required. Yeah, initial steps of configuration. Yeah, configuration of Dynamics CRM if we integrate this with any other application, because there will be some situations where we have to integrate CRM application with other applications. So that kind of situations we come across. So being a business analyst, we need to have a knowledge over the initial steps which will be used for us to integrate that CRM process and all. So that knowledge is also required. Next, need to have a knowledge over the project life cycle, being a BA, right? So because that is a common thing, you know, right? So project life cycle, which is called SDLC, software development life cycle. So this knowledge is required, because whenever we are going to develop the application, so software development life cycle knowledge is required. Apart from that, we must be knowing about the models, like something like waterfall model, V model, etc. Because whenever we are working on waterfall model and V model, if we follow the traditional practices, as you know, we prepare BRD, SRS, etc. Right? So we prepare business requirements document, software requirement specifications, all these. So knowledge over BRD, XRS, all these things are needed whenever we are working on waterfall model and V model. At the same time, when we are working on agile environment, agile, when I'm talking about agile, it could be mostly Scrum, agile environment. That knowledge is required. So where we need to have a knowledge over Jira tool, right? So in this Jira tool, creating epics, user stories, etc. Right? So this sort of knowledge, because when there is a transformation taking place from the role of a BA in agile environment, mostly business analyst will work as a product owner. Usually, most of the occasions, business analyst will work as a product owner. So that transformation will be there. So this is one more thing, right? So models of the one like waterfall model, V model. So that knowledge is required. Means how to write BRDs, SRS, as I have explained earlier. At the same time, knowledge over the agile scrum part, wherein we need to know how to create epics user stories. If you remember, this we have discussed even in our sessions also. So the next thing is about preparing UML diagrams is also required. Something like use case as well as the sequence diagram, irrespective of the tool, Kingsley, because whatever the tool are we using, it is irrespective of it. Because some people may use Microsoft Visio, some people may use Star UML, some people may use Lucid Chats, which is an online application. Some people will have their own tool in real environment, because every organization will have their own tools to prepare these diagrams, all that. So that knowledge is required even, right? So that knowledge is also needed. So preparing use cases and sequence diagrams for a particular project, whichever the project we are working on. So that project knowledge is also required, highly needed. So this is also because visualizing the process of an application is especially required for any BA to understand it. So this is something one we have to understand. Clear? Are you clear?
Yeah.
Kingsley, right? Next, if when we talk about business requirements document, should have an experience in translating business requirement, translating understanding, experience in understanding the business problem, followed by this translating business requirements to technical requirements, etc. is also required, because how to translate business requirements to technical requirements. So that knowledge is also required being a business analyst, like how to understand the business problem, right? So how to understand the business requirements, how to translate business requirements towards technical requirements. That sort of knowledge is also required. Next, in addition to that, understanding the test cases and test scenarios, because these are all the common points. Okay, whatever I'm mentioning you, these are all the common points being a BA. This is irrespective of technology, irrespective of the domain. So these points were common. These points like SDLC, these points were common, right? So because even though we are working on CRM business analyst, dynamic CRM, this expertise and this experience is needed. So that is required at the same time. Along with this, you need to have a knowledge over the CRM workflow, as I told you, right? So workflows and all everything. So that is one more thing which we need to understand. Followed by this, if you have a knowledge additionally to understand about the DevOps environment, will be an added advantage. DevOps environment, right? So DevOps environment is an added advantage nowadays for BA. Why? Because earlier there will be two different teams. One is development team and second is operations team. So operation team will take care of deployment, etc. But nowadays there is an environment which was introduced called DevOps environment. So in this DevOps environment, both implementation as well as testing we do using different tools. I mean to say develop DevOps engineers. DevOps engineers should have will be using different tools like Jenkins, Kubernetes, Ansible, Nagios, all that. So as in when being a BA, we are working with application development, even though if it's a Microsoft Dynamics application, uh, even team people, development team people are working under DevOps environment. Do remember DevOps environment. DevOps is an environment. So the DevOps environment is what generally people will be looking majorly, right? So DevOps environment is what it was. So understanding about test case scenarios, etc. At the same time, knowing about the DevOps environment is also an additional advantage for you to become a business analyst in this regard. At the same time, any one functionality of CRM process is required. Like, for example, either it could be sales CRM, okay, or it could be e-commerce, etc. Right? So anyone, because there are a lot of CRM types we have in Dynamics, right? So sales CRM, right? So marketing cloud, right? E-commerce CRM. We have different CRMs and all. So any one CRM process, knowledge over any one CRM process is required because customer relationship management, either you may be going for sales, you may be going for marketing or e-commerce, everywhere the same. So you don't see much difference in it. So at least one CRM process need to be known to an individual who wants to become a BA in context to the Dynamics part. So as an example, whatever we have taken is sales. Sales CRM is what generally we have taken. And we have worked on the sales CRM. Whatever that I have shown you, everything relating to sales CRM. So at least any one, because depends on normally in real environment, people will not have experience in all the CRMs because depends on the type of project they are working on. So they may have experience in one or two CRMs, maybe sales and marketing, maybe sales in e-commerce, depends on the type of project they have received. Because depends on the customer to customer, the type of project will vary. Because dynamic CRM anyone can use, right? Even a retail client can use it. Even a sales and sales team organizations can use that. Even manufacturing industries can use this. So anyone can use. So we cannot say that only these people will use. There is no nothing. There is nothing of that sort, right? So that sort of this thing is not there. So that is the reason why any one CRM, at least one, if you have knowledge over two CRM, these things and all, that's an additional advantage because in real environment, people may have one or two. That is depends on the kind of projects what they have received and all. So that will vary. Otherwise, it remains constant and all that. So that is one more thing. One, you need to have a knowledge over that. So this is also required because this part is also needed apart from the workflows and all that. So apart from the workflows and all everything, that is also required. At the same time, creation of task management. I'm writing this. How to create tasks, right? How to manage these tasks and all that. So this knowledge is also required because we are not the one who are there to write the coding. Because to write the coding for any of the application, technical team will be available. But in whichever the application we are working, being a BA, our focus must be, and our focus will be majorly on the business requirement side, business problem, understanding the business goals, right? So trying to translate our business requirements to the technical requirements with the help of technical team, and identifying and understanding the tasks, how to create tasks, right? So this sort of knowledge is majorly required for any business analyst one should work with. That is the reason why this task management is also one of the prime area, being a business analyst, how to create the task, because this task creation we do based upon the project what we have taken, because CRM implementation is the project we have taken as an example in our sessions. So how to creation of the task, right? So what are the task creations and all everything, and how are we managing these tasks in the CRM application, wherein for the task how we are translating into the workflow, because workflow is a process which explains you about the working condition of a particular functionality, business functionality. This is what generally we call it as workflow stands for. So that sort of knowledge over the workflows relating to the workflow process and all everything. So that sort of knowledge is also required. That's what generally sometimes we call it as dynamics AX workflows and all everything. So that sort of knowledge is also required being a business analyst whenever we are working on the dynamics CRM part, right? So these are the major areas which being a BA, technically speaking, of course, technically, whatever I have explained, all the points are needed, even configuration, setting ups, right? So creating the tasks, right? So at the same time, fields, at the same time, custom filters, because those are all common. Because customizing the filters, because whenever you are customizing the filters, we have an advantage where if you want to extract any information, which will be much easier because you have created filters and you are keeping it ready. So those parts, those kind of things were already, those are all there, right? So whatever I have explained so far earlier. So those are all common things, but hence I am not going into that because those are all small things, workflows, at the same time, what we call filters, right? So these are all the regular activities when we are working on dynamics. We need to have a knowledge over all that. So that's the reason why I'm not writing all those points, because anyway, those are all mandatory. Because without that, you cannot say that I had experience in dynamics CRM. Because all these things club together is called CRM application, dynamics CRM. So hence that knowledge is majorly required and useful to you. So these are the areas where being a BA in context to the dynamic CRM, one must be good and one must be experienced. Is it clear part? Clear understood, Kingsley? Did you understand this?
Yeah. Can you explain what you mean by knowledge over CRM process?
Sorry?
The first one. Can you explain that?
Yes. Yeah. So CRM process, nothing bad. Let me put you this way. For example, let's say there is a retail outlet. Let me put you this. I'll give you an example. Let's say that there is a retail outlet, something like Walmart, Target, all that, right? So retail shops. What these people do, what usually those people do, right? So those people are the responsible people who will be selling different FMCG products to the customers. Am I right? Yes, sir. Right? So whenever they are selling different products to the retail store, what is that they have to do? They have to know about the perception as well as expectation of the customers. Am I right? Because if any organization wants to improve the quality of the work, what is that they are doing? What is that they have to do? What is that they have to do? So they have to know about the customer perception. Am I right or not? Right? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Right? So customer perception, they want to know. Why customer perception they require? Because whenever we are working on the customer perception, we must be knowing about what customer is expecting and what customer desires and what customer wants. That sort of knowledge is required. Am I right? Yes, sir. Right? Because perception of the customers uh, vary from requirement to requirement. It will vary. It will not be the same all the time because what kind of products customer is expecting, right? So what kind of understanding over the products we are selling to the client, right? So how this transformation is taken place. So are they really satisfied about the services what we have given to them or not? All these things is what generally we want to know. Understand or not? Clear, right?
Okay.
Understood?
So
Right. So yeah, you go ahead. You can ask. Then I'll speak. You carry on.
yeah. So my question is the first point. Is that what you're talking on, or you're talking on the second point? Yeah, I'm asking you. My question is number one. Is that what you're trying to answer, or you're talking on the second point?
I am talking about the first point. I have not started the second point yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I'm explaining about the first part. Next second point, I'm going to start now. Okay.
No, I know. I'm just confirming. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah,
I'm in the first part. So CRM process on a high level note was that. Now, when we talk about the different functionalities and as well as the process of CRM, when we talk about.
sorry, Raj. Still on the first point. I'm just trying to be very clear on that before we move on. Yeah, you explained that knowledge over CRM is trying to understand the customer perspective or what the customer is expecting from the business. So, as a business analyst, you need to know what the expectation of your customer is as far as CRM that you're using is concerned, right?
Right. On a high level note. On a high level note.
Okay.
On a high level note. But when we talk about CRM process in detail, process of CRM functionalities, being a BA, you need to understand from the different perspectives because you need to know about the functionalities of CRM process. Okay, CRM process functionalities you need to know being a BA. So for this, I am taking some example here. Okay, because if you want to know about CRM process functionalities and all, I am taking a life cycle of a sales process. Okay, because we have discussed about the sales process, right? Sales CRM we have discussed. Okay, so life cycle of sales process is what you need to know because it's not only about the customer perception, but at the same time, we have to know the detailing of the CRM functionalities. So what are all the CRM functionalities we have and all everything, that knowledge should be there for a BA. I'm talking about CRM functionalities. These CRM functionalities, especially as an example, I have taken a Salesforce, sales application, the sales one, because we have taken sales CRM, right, in our training. So we need to know about the sales life cycle of a sales process. If you understand the life cycle of a sales process from the dynamic CRM point of view, you will be understood about the CRM functionalities. Understood? Clear? Right?
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about life cycle of a sales process, the first thing is about lead capture. The first thing is about lead capture. Understood? Right? Second, account creation. Second, account creation. Next, contact setup. Next, opportunity management. Next, product catalog. Next, code management. Next, order management. Next, invoice management. Next, sales business process. Sales business process. So these are the areas where being a business analyst, when we see about sales process and all, life cycle of sales process is this. So this knowledge, being a BA, you need to understood, clear? Understood,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, what would be like a business problem that we're trying to solve with CRM? So I will try to explain. For instance, from this second point now, everything is clear. What you have to know as far as CRM is concerned, if you're working on sales. So what would be the likely problem that can come to table for a business analyst or for a company to solve for a customer when it comes to sales? Can you give an example?
Yeah, see, the problem can be anything in these points. For example, let me put you this way.
Yeah, sorry, Raj. Sorry, I just want to jump in. The problem I'm trying to bring should be on the first question. So, what kind of problem am I trying to understand from a business analyst from the first point? Because you explained that first point is about knowing the perspective of the customer, right? When it comes to CRM on a high level. So, what kind of problem is it like the customer is expecting us to develop a CRM application for them, and then we are trying to understand that CRM, what the customer wants from CRM? Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, let me explain. For example, I'll take an example so that you'll be understood. So you are asking what problem, right? So what kind of problems it was and how to understand. I'll give an example to you first. Let's say you are a BA, you are a business analyst. Now, there is an organization who are into manufacturing side. Let me put you this way, okay? I'll give you an example to you. There is a manufacturing industry. Whichever the products they are manufacturing, forget about it, right? There is a manufacturing industry. So what manufacturing industry do? Manufacturing industry manufacture, develop different products, and they will sell to the customers. That's what it is. So if a manufacturing industry want to become successful in their business, there are two major areas. One is how their supply chain management process while they are manufacturing the product is important. Second, how they are selling their products to the customers. Do you agree? Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no? Right? Are you following?
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Okay, so let me again I'm explaining. For example, there is a manufacturing industry. Let you understand this way. There is a manufacturing industry. So to manufacture industry, if manufacturing industry wants to get succeeded in their business, there are two major pillars. One is effectively developing the product by implementing the supply chain management process and all everything is one area, because how quality of the product to be developed, taking raw material, right? At the same time, semi-finished good, right? So how you are manufacturing the product, what kind of quality components are we using? This is all comes under one category. Once the product was manufactured, what is that they have to do? They have to sell this to the market. Am I right? They have to sell this to the market. If they want to sell, first of all, they have to identify where exactly the requirement was. Who are their targeted customers? Where exactly their requirement was, and how to understand the requirement of the industry, and what kind of sales business process do we require to follow to sell our product. So this is also equally required. So manufacturing the product itself is not sufficient. Apart from that, what else is required? So once we have manufactured the product, we have to sell the product effectively to the customer, right? This is what generally any industry of the manufacturing sector is required. Now, this customer has approached you. This customer has approached you. I am writing an example to you so that you will be understood. Okay, I'll write here. For example, client can be anyone, right? So client XYZ is into manufacturing sector. Industry. From last 2 decades. Last 2 decades. They majorly produce infant products. They majorly develop infant products. What are infant products? For example, baby soaps, right? So diapers, at the same time body lotion, etc. For example, right? So these are the different products which this industry is manufacturing. Now, here is a problem. So what is the business problem? The business problem here is as follows. As their product is quality one by following all the quality standards, but they were failing in understanding the right customer base. They are failing in understanding the right customer base in the market, right? In the market. For example, this market may be European market, for example, right? So European market is what their target was. They're targeting European market. So in this European market, they are failing difficulty. What is that they're failing? They're failing in understanding the right customer base. This is what generally the business problem which customer is facing. Understand? Clear? Right? So if you see about sales process, it starts with lead capture to it ends with sale business processes. But customer don't want this product catalog, customer don't want operation code management, all that. What is that required? So failing in understanding the right customer base is what generally the business problem which customer is facing. Okay. So now you tell me where this business problem relates in these points. In these points, where failing in understanding the right business, right customer base will be connecting to this, where it will come in the sales process. Kingsley, you're listening?
Yeah.
Here, the business problem is this. They are failing in understanding the right customer base. Okay, that's what they are struggling. Because if they want to sell the products to the market, they were doing it for a very long time, but still they were failing. Somewhere they are failing because all the markets are not the same, right? Because all the customers, geographical condition, topographical condition, those conditions depends on the different conditions, it matters. So they were unable to identify the right customer base to sell the products, especially in the European market. Assume that earlier they were in Asian market, for example. Earlier they were in Asian market. They were doing very good business in the Asian market. Now they were entered into European market. But they were failed in understanding the European market in reference to the products whichever I have mentioned so far. So they were failing in understanding the right customer base. Now, so if being a BA, this is your job is to provide solution for this problem what they are facing. Now, my question to you is, if you are a business analyst, among all these sales processes, which point or which process is relating to this business problem?
Yeah, the first four is relating to that, and the last one, sales business process, those five.
Yeah, lead capture, first one. Okay, next.
Yeah, the first four. Yes.
Okay.
Contact setup, opportunity management.
Okay, so my question is to you, how account creation and contact setup are related for this problem?